Good afternoon. I hereby call this agenda review meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and notice of this meeting was posted as required by Texas Open Meeting Act. Reverend James Irwin, unable to attend today's meeting. Today, all items on the agenda are for discussions only. No voting take place in this meeting. Thank you for joining us, and I ask you please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. At this portion, we have a public comment, and somehow we do not have any request to address the board. Okay, we move on. This portion of meeting, we will discuss items from a consent agenda. No action will be taken on these items. We're starting with item A, board meeting minutes from May. Board members, are there any questions concerning board minutes? If not, we're moving on to business office report, and starting with item 1, budget amendment, and Mr. Ben Eberlein, our Chief Financial Officer, will present.
Sir. President Nearmine, Board of Trustees, Interim Superintendent Dr. Myers. We got our budget amendments this month. There's only 2 of them. The first being, to transfer funds per the request of the departments and/or campuses between functions. So that's going to be A, and B is going to be moving funds out of Function 71, which is to pay down debt in the general fund, into other functions that may need some support, just closing out the end of the year, moving money around while we can.
Okay. Board, please, or are there any questions? Thank you, Mr. Eberlein. Next, we go to donation under $2,500.
Yes, sir. Gifts and donations under $2,500. Reggae received 4 gallons of HTO-T from Excel ER for teachers and staff, and also a hot dog luncheon from Commercial Bank of Texas for teachers and staff. Nacogdoches High School received $100 from Red Brick Bluegrass Association for ROTC, $500 from Zero Graphics East Texas Inc. for ROTC, $200 from Christ the Savior Orthodox Church for ROTC for Feed the Hungry, $2,250 from Nacogdoches JC's for the cosmetology program for senior kids, and $200 from Christ the Savior Orthodox Church. The Teaching and Learning Department for the Parent Family Explosion received a $100 Amazon gift card from Olivia Kurtzy, with Loblolly Properties LLC for the Science Fair winner. And Fredonia Early Childhood Center received food and supplies from Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service to implement the Learn, Grow, Eat, Go program for all students.
Okay. Board?
I had a comment and a question. The $2,250 from Nacogdoches JC's is tremendous. I mean, all of it's tremendous. Everything counts. But that's really honoring our cosmetology students. But I was wondering what these senior kits, is this something kind of like, if you take this kit, you can go start doing your work? Or I don't know what a senior kit is. Can we find that out?
I can find that out and present that to the board if y'all wish.
I think that would be nice to know that they're so generous to do that. And this same thing with Texas A&M AgriLife Extensions. Sometimes it's not money, it's what they give us that really enhances this experience for our students, particularly in early childhood, where they learn, grow, eat, go. And I think that's wonderful that we're putting that at the very first step for these students. And so kudos to Texas A&M AgriLife Extension.
If I may, Mr. Sean Lucina is here. I think that he is more knowledgeable about the senior kits, especially for our cosmetology students. If he could answer, that'd be wonderful.
Good afternoon, school board, Dr. Myers. President Neerman. So the senior kits, once they advance through the program and they're getting through the knowledge portion, they are getting the practical hands-on skills, they need their kit of tools, because in order to get their certification, their operator's license, they have to go through the written test, but then a grueling online practicum test. And they're locked up in a room, and they have to have the kits with them. And they're required to have everything that's on that list and show that they know how to use it. And so that equipment's not cheap, and it's required. So that has to be done, for each round of kids that come through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are certainly thankful for those people that do those kind of contributions. Okay, next would be item 2, which is donation.
Yes, sir.
Over 2,500.
Yes, sir. Donations over $2,500. We don't have any cash received. However, McMichael Middle School received one baby grand piano from Mark E. Stoddard Estate. So that was very nice of them.
I think this is real appropriate, because here we have our choir program growing under David and Aaron, the choir masters, and Marquis Stoddard Estate. Those people are recognizing the excellence that we're developing with having all ones for both choirs, and it's like awesome that we've got people in the community who are supporting us in ways that we would never expect. That piano is going to be put to good use.
Okay, thank you very much. Next is item 4, investment report.
Yes, sir. This is just going to be our standard investment report. As always, I always like to tell the board, we're always monitoring the market, trying to get the best rate that we can, whether that's in a CD or leaving it in our investment pools. Just wanted to let y'all know that. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Don't have anyone? Okay. Thank you, sir. Next, item 5, which is miscellaneous business office report.
Yes, sir. Again, just our standard reports every month. Bank reconciliation, summary of revenues and expenditures for all funds, summary expenditure status report for the general fund, check register by date and vendor, and the tax collection report is not in this month's packet right now.
Board, is there any question? If it's not, we go to item C, purchase over 50,000, and we start in with item 1, project lead the way, better known as PLTW. Presenter Dr. Dea Hill, Assistant Superintendent.
Thank you, President Neerman, Board of Trustees, Interim Superintendent Dr. Myers. We're pleased to begin to offering possibly this new elective at the middle school that will be available for about 120 middle school students. It does align with our CTE Computer Science Program of Study at NHS. So this specific one is automation and robotics. It's going to be a half a semester course. It won't be for high school credit. It will just be a general elective that we'll offer at McMichael. But you can see that students will learn using a problem-based approach. So they'll go through some activities. They'll learn to work with teams. They'll even do like a little mock internship. So we're very excited about the opportunity. It is a kind of a canned curriculum, if you will, but they do provide specific professional development. And Project Lead the Way has a very, very wonderful reputation in education.
I was just wondering, I may have been misinformed, but I had the impression that up until now, we had like a robotics class thing, but it was for GT only. So this is going to open up an elective for the general
Yes, ma'am.
students and
Yes, ma'am.
everything. And when it says 6th through 8th, each grade they get more and more electives to choose from each year.
Yes.
So will the classes be mixed grades, and they'll just be?
I don't believe so. I think we're going to do no, they're not. We're going to do our best to keep them as grade level
Okay.
specific as
Okay.
possible. Sorry, I had to look at
This
Mr.
is
Fonzie just to
wonderful.
get the
I mean-
specifics. So, yeah, they're also going to get into some coding, because, that's very popular now, as well as some animation. So, we're kind of dipping our toes into the project Lead the Way. I've worked with them in previous districts and have had great success, because there are even some modules that can even transfer it to the high school level.
Yeah, and our robotics at the high school level's done
And I've
really
already,
well.
Mr. Lucina and I have talked to Mr. Touche about it, so this is going to be a lot of prerequisite work for him that he
Oh,
won't
good.
have to do.
Yeah.
So,
That's
we're all super
wonderful.
excited about it.
Because I guess I'm still a parent, I was going to say former parent, but anyway, I just remember it is really tough to get your very, very genius child actually recognized as GT, gifted and talented.
Of course.
And so it's so limiting, because
It is.
we've got kids who are so gifted and talented in one area that just doesn't qualify them for that. So the more we can reach out to the full population, that's great.
Thank you
Good
for
deal.
recognizing that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I think it's great about this. This kind of goes with STEM
Very
and
much
how
so.
we push the kids into STEM, but I think it's good that we consider everybody. One thing I had questions, we're spending about $60,000 here.
Yes.
And there's some cabinets that are $400 each. Do you know if those cabinets lock to secure these?
They do. Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful.
And so thank you for bringing that up. I apologize. This expenditure is about $58,000. It's coming from our Title IV federal funds. So you'll notice that, yes, sir, there is a lot of storage because of all the various components of these robots, because the students will be building the robots.
That's wonderful. That way they'll be utilized by the students who are selected to be in that program.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful.
Okay, any more questions? Not, we move to item 2, is Vero Fiber Networks LLC, Mr. Michael Martin.
Good afternoon, President Normand, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Dr. Myers. The administration's requesting that the board enter into a 5-year agreement for the purchase of a fiber maintenance network to ensure that the repair and maintenance of all the district's fiber infrastructure, beginning with the 2025-26 school year. The total cost is $197,000. However, the district has applied for the E-rate discounts and has been approved. The district cost will be 10% of the total cost, which will be $19,740. The administration recommends the board approve the purchase.
What do you have questions?
I want to, what is this E-rate? Where does that money come from? Or is it just a discount?
No, sir, that money actually comes, if we look at our phone bills, there is a place where it is deducted from each individual person's phone bill monthly. Just a small service fee, and that money is then put together and administered by the federal government under USAC, Universal Administrative Company, and then they turn around and issue those discounts to school districts and libraries, schools and libraries.
So is this the same company we've been using, or is this a new company?
This is a new company that we're asking for on the fiber maintenance.
Okay. And was there a bid by the other company and they
Yes,
beat
sir.
it?
Yes, sir. There was bids, and we have tabulated the bids, and this company comes in and meets the district's needs.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, you just answered the question I asked.
Yeah, I'm sorry, if I may, President?
Yes.
Yes, through the E-rate program, you have to, by law, put it out for bid. So we go through what's called a 470 process, which puts all this information of our needs, the district's needs, out there on the internet, and lets people come in and bid on that. USAC, the company that administers this, also looks over the rules and regulations to make sure everything is in compliance before approving.
Okay, any more questions? All right, thank you. Now, Mr. Martin, you go over to item 3 is Absolute Technology Solutions LLC.
Thank you, President Norman. The administration is recommending purchasing Absolute Technology unlimited support to provide network and server administration as well as an escalation path for other technical issues for the 25-26 fiscal school year. If the board remembers, we've been with Absolute now for about 4 to 5 years. They have provided us with excellent service, on-time service, and they help protect our network. We'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay.
I have one question. It says we're purchasing 10 gigabytes per second internet access. Is this expandable, like they just flip a switch and it goes up higher? Because if we have a higher need, they can just meet that, we just have to pay more, correct?
Yes,
That-
sir.
That's not with Absolute, though, okay.
Right.
Okay. So we can expand it as we need, wherever we need it at.
100%, yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Apple, did you have any comment?
No.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Martin, we'll go to item number 4, Consolidated Communications.
Thank you, President Norman. Administration is recommending entering into a 3-year agreement to purchase 10 gigs of dedicated internet access services from Consolidated, beginning with the 25-26 school year. Again, this is another service that the district applies for with E-rate. It's also put out to bid for vendors to take a look at and see if they want to bid on it. And the district has followed all of the program rules to acquire this purchase. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Ma'am, if you want to come on, feel free to come in.
Around the corner.
Tax is not here anyway.
Oh, it isn't? Oh.
Okay, Mr. Martin, since you're at it, CDWG.
CDWG. Thank you, President Norman. Administration is recommending purchasing firewalls and backup batteries for our network infrastructure from CDWG during the 25-26 school year. This investment will enhance network security, ensure greater system reliability, and provide critical backup power to maintain operations during outages. The total cost of the equipment is $123,510.73, with E-rate covering $83,564.26, leaving the district's portion as $39,946.47 to be paid using general funds. The administration recommends that the board approve of this, and we will be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Comments, questions?
I have a question. I have a lot of questions already, but what about the lifespan? Is this just for 1 year, this, and then next year we have another one, or this has some time span? Because I noticed some of these batteries we're buying, they're lithium ion, so they should last a while, but
Yes, sir.
how does that work?
It's basically network equipment, goes in a closet, has to be conditioned. It does come with a 5-year warranty, basically, on most of the equipment that we have here.
So then we can expect 5 years of service out of this?
At least, yes, sir.
Okay, super.
Okay, any more questions? We go to item D, Memorandum of Understanding with Indiana Wesleyan University. Presenter again, Mr. Michael Morton.
Thank you, President Norman, board. We have been using or working with Indiana Wesleyan now for about 3 years. The proposed renewal of the collaboration agreement between Nacogdoches ISD and Indiana Wesleyan University supports a continued partnership to enhance teacher preparation and licensure opportunities for district employees. Through this agreement, NISD staff can pursue a Bachelor's of Science in General Studies at a discounted rate for their tuition, with options to earn credits from their previous work experience and professional learning opportunities. This is what the board may know our program by is Teachworthy. This is part of the Teachworthy program, and this university does the accreditation for the bachelor's degrees for our employees for that program.
Mr. Martin, is there any time period that they can be certified? How long does it take normally?
How long does it take normally? If I may, President Norman, can I defer that question to Mr. Whitaker? He handles that program for us.
Thank you, President Norman, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Myers. So as we know, yes, we want there to be a length of time. However, it depends on how many credits you come into with the program. So it all kind of depends on, one, how fast you move throughout the coursework, and as well as how many courses you start. So if a paraprofessional who is granted access to the program has 60 hours of coursework, they may finish a little bit quicker than somebody with 30 hours and so forth like that.
The hours that they transfer, do they accept? Does it matter what university would be or what courses would be?
No, sir, it does not. So the great, wonderful thing about IWU University and kind of why the program kind of developed or utilized IWU is that it does not require, has a time limit on the number of courses. So if you took a course 20 years ago, they will accept that. However, like some Texas institutions will hand tie you to only use it in 5 years or 10 years and have that cap on that time limit. But if you have those for, again, 20 years, that university will accept those credit hours.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How often is this program used here in the district? Does it get a lot of use?
Sure, yes, ma'am. So first year was our first cohort that we kind of piloted and worked through. So the timeline that Mr. Martin mentioned about the 3 years, we kind of worked through, signed the MOU probably roughly around that time 3 years ago. Last year was our first cohort, which we had 10 individuals kind of going through and currently going through. We're working on through our second kind of cohort, establishing that right now at this time. So we're at our second cohort at this time.
Mr. Assuming somebody got credit and certified teaching in ISD and decided later on to move on, that other schools accept the same certification?
Yes, sir, because again, IWU and that program, it is a accredited university.
Yes.
So that degree could be taken anywhere throughout their, where they choose to go, if they do choose to leave us. And then, of course, the certification program with Teachworthy is a accredited certification pathway program. So that program will allow them to be a certified, standard certified teacher with the state regulations, and so they'll take that certificate as well with them anywhere they choose to leave us.
Okay.
I want to thank you for your time and investment in this, in these district employees that are going to prove to be very valuable to us over the years. And there probably are many more, and might be some listening right now, that we want everyone who's interested to seek out this information and see, does this really fit your need? Because we definitely do need to advance all district employees who want to do something in a higher level and let them be fulfilled in their work in this district. So thank you.
It is one of our a few partnerships that we have, so at that point, we definitely try to visit those employees who are interested in kind of moving up to be a teacher, to kind of see what programs and some partnerships that we could definitely point them in that direction to get more information about, to kind of what best suits them, to kind of help guide them to advancing their career. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move to item E, which is federally funded vendors, instructional materials. Dr. Curley?
Good afternoon, President Nuremon, board members, interim superintendent Dr. Myers. On page 107 of the board book, we're seeking board approval for instructional materials vendors that have completed the request for proposal process. This will ensure compliance with federal purchasing guidelines for the upcoming school year and school year 26-27.
Okay. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but just for our public listening, would you just make it very clear that we're not automatically buying all this stuff? Would you just clarify
Yes,
that.
ma'am. Board approval of the vendors that are on this list, the instructional materials, does not mean that we're going to engage in a contract or a purchase with the vendors. It's just there in case.
It just
the
means that
need-
the ones we do deal with have been approved.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
okay. Okay.
Thank you. Any more comments? If not, item F, which is federally funded vendors, professional development, coaching, and consultation. Dr. Kirby.
Yes, sir. We have the list for professional development, coaching, and consulting. This is located on page 110 of the board book, and we're seeking board approval for the 2-year window. And the same information applies to these vendors as it did for the instructional materials. We're not required to engage in a contract or a purchase.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we are in item G, annual review of investment policy. Again, Mr. Ben Eberle.
Yes, sir. This is an annual thing every year, just reviewing the investment policy. The board reviews the investment policy. I believe in March, this was part of our board policy review, and it was renovated, so to say, to go from an X to an A. So I think it changed it from about 7 pages to about 4. So condensed all of our words but if you have any questions on our investment policy or anything contained in here or anything like that, I'd be happy to answer. But we just moved that the board approve the resolution that the investment policy was reviewed.
Okay. Mr. Eberlin, you still have one more, which is a Region 7 Purchasing Cooperative Resolution for 25-26 school year.
Yes, sir. Again, kind of an annual thing. It's that time of year. We are part of the Region 7 Purchasing Co-op, and I believe that we're just needing a resolution from the board to remain a part of it. I will say the budgetary impact is done through our e-agreements with Region 7 that we already pay, so it's just a part of that package that we have the option of doing. So that is $3,332 for the whole year. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes, ma'am.
How do we benefit from this agreement?
Well, it's kind of twofold. Being part of any purchasing cooperative, for the most part, enables us to go and we can go and say Miss Dr. Hill works for the co-op. I can say, hey, Dr. Hill, I need a vendor for air conditioners. And they will sometimes do the groundwork of saying, okay, here's all the vendors that I have that have already been competitively bid. And it kind of takes some of the legwork off of our office or any office in the department or in the district. But being a part of a purchasing co-op is a very beneficial thing. I think we're a part of probably 20 of them, Region 7 being the most local probably.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move to discussion action agenda. And item A is consideration of possession and use agreements for transportation purpose with the Texas Department of Transportation. And Dr. Myers, our interim superintendent, would carry us.
Thank you. This portion here is dealing with the 1/3 acre that we have that TxDOT basically were exercising eminent domain on at the Ag Complex. It adjoins Highway 59, so they're going to be using it for the 69 project. And over the course of the last couple of months, we've been negotiating with TxDOT to come up with a price for that property. And the price that we've been able to negotiate is $36,772. So once we exercise the agreement, once the board approves and exercises the agreement, then they will take possession of that property.
I want to thank the interim superintendent, Dr. Myers, for haggling with them and getting us more money.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to give us a pittance, and so now we at least get something of value.
Thank you.
And every dollar is going to be used for our students, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
I echo that. Board, if there is no objection, we can put this on a consent agenda.
Yes.
Okay? Next, consideration of renovation or sale of real property known as a deaf education building located at 4122 Appleby Sands Road, Nacogdoches, Texas, 75965. Again, Dr. Myers, our interim superintendent.
Thank you. I placed this on the agenda to basically try to help us decide where we want to go with this building. As you know, we've looked at renovating that building, and the cost to renovate it is about $68,000. So whether we want to renovate or whether we want to put that on the market for it to be liquidated from the district assets is up to the board. But I was trying to get this off the plate before Dr. Barton got here, get this taken care of. So the property itself is too small for the police department because it's 1,000 square foot less than what they had. Plus, the renovations would not include the T-close types things that they have to do, the requirements that they have to meet as far as evidence room and things like that. So it would take further renovation to be able to do that. And also, Ms. App had visited with the Alumni Association, and they were not interested in moving into that facility. So really, it's up to the board and your discretion what should occur with that.
Personally, I have looked at the property and thought about it in my mind. There is not enough parking space for any office that we put in there. There is a lot of money need to renovate it, and it still is the same thing. If we put it for sale, at least we get the tax out of it for the benefit and get the income. That's my thoughts.
So is the renovation plan, is that in case we wanted to keep using
Yes.
it? That's what it'll cost
Yeah.
to keep it usable, but we don't have a plan for it? Okay, then I don't think we
So
should
if you put it in the market and be sold, it becomes
tax.
taxed property, so.
Yeah, okay.
So we haven't used this building for a while, a couple of years.
No, sir. I'll defer to Mr. Martin with that because he's been here that length of time.
No, sir. To answer the question, no, sir, we've not used it other than to store things.
So basically, it's costing us money, and if we upkeep it, for what reason? We don't have a good reason.
No, we've,
So we have to know
Thought
when
about
to
it.
hold them and when to fold them.
yeah.
Okay.
So what do we do? So what are we can't vote on anything, but,
Yeah,
We could move this to consent.
huh?
We could move this to consent.
Well, we
And
put
vote
it,
on-
because we've got to decide whether we want to renovate or spend, or sell, so.
Yeah.
We have been
Yeah,
discussed
so we
that
got to
in
make a
past.
decision on something, so
Oh,
that's what, so is
oh, I
that what
see.
we're going to do on
Correct.
Thursday is make the, I got you,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Moving
Oh,
right
then we
along.
can't do it.
Whether we want to begin the renovations or whether we want to go ahead and list
No,
it
we can't.
for sale.
We move this item for action on Thursday.
What?
No, but we've got to still
We
talk
have
about
to-
it.
We have to make a, we have to vote
We
on
have-
one or the other. Right now, it's an either or.
Right. So we leave it where it is and
Correct.
make our decision Thursday.
I'm looking at the expert over there, yes?
Correct.
Yes, okay.
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 It doesn't matter.
Next would be item C, which is consideration of approved bid for real property on the ag farm located at 2030 North Starling Drive, Nacogdoches, Texas, 75965.
Thank
Again,
you.
presenter is Dr. Myers.
Thank you. As you know, we went out for bid on that property, which we commonly refer to as the ag farm. And we took sealed bids on that with the intent to move the ag farm over to adjoining property that we have at McMichael. Those sealed bids came in. We had one bid from 4G Poultry, and they bid $2.8 million for that property. So there is consideration for the board to accept that bid.
Okay. But you all were familiar with that, right? Okay, can we move that to the consent agenda? Okay, that moves to the consent
May
agenda.
I make a comment, Mr. President?
He wants to.
Go ahead.
May
Yes, sir.
I make a comment? I want to thank 4G for offering to purchase this property so that it can be utilized for the good of this community. There'll be industry there, and it's not appropriate for school or anything else in that proximity. But on top of that, we can have some of our students who are in CTE or whatever program they're in, they could just walk across the street and get hired at a good salary with a new industry and be on the ground floor. So we are not only doing something for ourselves and for our students in this, selling this investment, but we will protect that money to be utilized for future of our students. So I think that this is a very positive thing, and I want to thank all the administrative people that have made this possible, including you, Dr. Myers, for working with 4G and realtors and all the professionals that do these kind of things. This is going to make a significant difference for the Nacogdoches community, having this industry. It will draw more industry.
And I may add that Ag Farm actually will be moved to the McMichael. We have property in McMichael that moved there, so it's not that we relinquish that Ag Farm. No, it's going to be more updated and more facilitated at McMichael area.
President Nirmal, may I add to that? In visiting with Mr. Poole, it appears that 4G Poultry is going to allow us to occupy that for an additional year. So as we begin to plan for the other, and our architect is already on that project, but as we begin to plan for the other Ag Farm, we'll have up to a year for construction there, and before we have to start actually moving projects and so forth. So that's my understanding, and I visited with Mr. Poole this morning in regard to that.
That's great news. Thank you, sir. Okay. Next is item D, first reading of revised local policy DC employment practices. Mr. Myers?
Yes, sir, thank you. This policy returns the contractual employees to the employment of this board for their approval for employment, rather than the superintendent being the employer of that. It does give sole responsibility and sole authority to the superintendent to be able to do the recommendations for those contractual employees, but leaves the actual employment to the discretion of the board.
Any comments or questions? If not, can we move to the consent agenda as well? Can we?
Don't
For
we
a
have to read this
second
twice?
reading.
We have to read it.
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
I get so confused over those reasons.
All right, item E is a first reading of TASB policy update 125. Mr. Michael Martin.
Thank you, President Norman, members of the board, Dr. Myers. Texas Association of School Boards has issued policy update 125, which includes updates and revisions to local and legal policies. Although local and legal policies are included in the policy update manual from TASB, only the local policies are to be considered for approval by the board. Board, you have approximately 6-7 policies that we are prepared and would be happy to go through if you'd like. Board, this is first reading. It's the board's will.
What is the pleasure of the board?
It looks like just the usual, re-changing the wording, but not the meaning, so,
It's about 300 pages, though.
well, I know, but I just go for the
Yeah.
colors,
Yeah,
where the
great,
colors
great,
are.
yes.
So
If you just look at the red ones.
It's cut and dried lawyer
it's very-
stuff.
Yeah. it's-
Yeah.
Mr. President, if I may, the majority of these policies are really have been changed for clarity, and also just to align to some regulatory documents that were already out there. It's just a clarity document.
You can move it to consent agenda.
Okay. Board, do you have any question? If not, moving it to consent agenda. Okay, moving to consent agenda. Okay, item F is consideration of the placement of a plaque of appreciation in the Nacogdoches High School Band Hall honoring Mr. Jim Haygood, former band director. Anybody has any comments? I think it's about time that we take time and recognize Mr. Jim Haygood for his contribution to Nacogdoches ISD Band. I believe he was hired the same year that I was hired, which was 82 or 83, I believe. Anyhow, and he did an excellent job, changed completely the band direction the band was going. And his assistant, Mr. Wills, took over after Mr. Wills, then current person took over. So, plus some of his former students are band director in the state of Texas, and they are very, very successful too. So, that's my thoughts. Miss Mindy?
Oh, I could speak forever about Mr. Haygood. I will tell you that I probably learned more about being a good citizen and person and a good leader from him. There's not enough words for me to go on about the impact he had on me as a young person. And, the band program is tremendous. I'm such an advocate of all the fine arts, and I got my first experience of being a softball mom and a dance mom and a choir mom, and I had no idea what to do with those things. But I did have one that was in the band program with Mr. Wells. So, I just have seen the value of all the fine arts and what they bring. They bring discipline. They bring students an opportunity to see that they can be successful, that they can win, and that it's not always a competition with other people, but just yourself. And how much do you want to get out of it is what you put into it. And I have to tell this story about one of my children who was in middle school band, and she was a dancer, but I won't name names. And she came home with a C in band. And I could not understand, how do you get a C in band? And she said, well, I don't know, you'll have to ask Mr. Weems. So I called Mr. Weems, and he said, well, she turns in her practice form and it's blank. And I'm like, what practice form? So I asked her, and she said, well, yeah, I have a practice form that you have to sign that I practiced. And I'm like, well, why am I not signing it? She said, because I'm not practicing. So we decided that while she was really good at the clarinet, she really needed to focus on where her heart was. But it really taught her some discipline, and it taught her to make good choices. And so I just can't say enough for what Mr. Haygood started, because Mr. Weems is a beneficiary of that leadership and that education. And so here we are with one of the best programs. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I had shared a lot of my students with band students. I can honestly tell you all the most disciplined, respectful, diligent young people. And I love Mr. Haygood. Okay. Folks, can we put this in the consent agenda?
Yes, otherwise we'll talk about it at length.
All right, next item is G, consideration of 2025-2026 compensation plan. Mr. Harold Whitaker.
Thank you, President Irvine, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Meyer. So I have the pleasure this afternoon to presented the 25-26 compensation plan for the district. So the board, if you can turn your attention to page 453 of the board book. You will start to see the compensation plan, as it's on the redactings and factories, and the work we put in. So I'd like to highlight working with our director of HR, Mr. G, as well as our CFO, Mr. Evelyn, as well as the new directors over their respective programs throughout the district. So it's always a wonderful time. So the major changes you will see is on page 455. Really, that's become structural. A lot of that wording and verbiage because it's kind of outdated. And so for doing all transparency, we are shifting our models with more, what's the word I want to use, kind of more of an updated layout of the compensation plan. Kind of really what TASB has, but for purposes of comparison between last year, this year, we want to kind of keep the same format the same for you all as you kind of go through and review the compensation plan. But all the information in the compensation plan will stay the same as what you guys approved it, but it'll be more of an updated, clearer look at our compensation plan. Posted on the website, we kind of more updated, fonts and graphics and things to kind of bring it a little more up to speed to the time. So again, all this information is kind of outdated as far as on page 455, and that's page 456 too. All the staff information that you will see with the new task model. It's not included in there, and it's kind of for our purposes, but I really you can see the general information. So it's going to be redacted. Some of the biggest changes that we have this year on page 458, you start to see starting of the teacher scale, right? And so, as you know, in the previous years, teachers versus librarians have been combined together for whatever different years we have had this model on their salary steps. And so with the youth passing of the Hospital 2 initiative, we're working with our TASB consultants and reaching out over the phone, really breaking those two scales out. So that's why you see the redaction of the nursing librarians on this particular scale that follows on page 459. So we're changing that, thinking that they'll just encompass our classroom teachers, and that language towards the hospital, really breaks those. And so what we did was at the average percentage we would traditionally do for the scale, but then add the additional compensation that the hospital identifies with our size. That's the $2,500 and $5,000 respectively to the appropriate steps as defined by that hospital. Then on page 461, you will see, again, the breakout of the additional scale versus librarians. With this, there are always kind of those last minute changes and updates. And so we also entitled as a teacher, we have some systems also still based on the teacher scale, so they won't be on that, I like to call it the hospital teacher scale. They will be on this more the nurses and librarians. It's also adding the language of the other instructional support staff as well. So including that language on there, and then on Thursdays, after that update will be for you guys in the board. But it's those nurses, librarians, and other instructional staff that will be included, such as other full-time instructional coaches or other things as defined by that, because they're not classroom teachers. And you can see their scale. So again, much like the other scale that they're used to, again, so they're doing 2%, but again, compensating hospital additional compensation added. Some other big changes in the compensation plan include on page 469, where you kind of get to the academic and professional stipends. Really big on the cover the mentor teacher stipend. So for the last few years, there's been work with our district improvement plan to really look at targeted, kind of more robust mentor support. Right, as we look at numbers and we look at the data of trying to figure out how do we support teachers, how do we retain those teachers, and it really is a support of a good quality mentor teacher. And so we really are working on diving into more creating a more robust mentorship program to where we can again fully support those teachers. And so that is currently in the works, and so that's that compensation that is tied with that accountability to reward those teachers and help support those teachers who are going to be those veteran teachers who are going to be working with those newly incoming teachers. kind of help guide and support them throughout the process. Another big one on that page is the centralized classrooms. I'm looking at my support over there with Ms. Hughes, just in case. But really looking at centralized classrooms. So this is a model that she presented to us in Cabinet a few months back in the work. So really looking at existing special education staff members to really target the students that we have within our district. Because, for example, a teacher at one campus could have many different kids in the classroom that they're on different functional levels. And so this model really kind of targets the instruction, really put the students first, to really kind of hone in to those instructional models for that particular need, whether it's bridge or ABLES or functional life skills. So a teacher's not having to really go in and say, let me deal with 5 or 6 students who are different on functional levels. We're really kind of targeting that instruction to get the best bang for our buck and really impact those kids to get the best support and instruction that they need. So you can see, and really targeting that, we really wanted to help drive that for bridge and for FABLES. Those are teachers who unfortunately could be in the midst of getting hit every day, or kind of go across those students who may be, I think that's the best way to put it, right? It could be just really physical in the classroom, and so those students, those teachers are kind of put in those circumstances each and every day. And so you can see some of the ranges of those stipends. And so one, even just now, we were looking at on the functional life skills that we may have some edits that coming down slightly a little bit and working with Ms. Hughes. And so we'll have an updated number for you for that on Thursday board to really target that.
Okay.
And so I really want to highlight talking to Ms. Hughes for the work that she does as far as advocating for the students and really kind of helping us kind of get some data on where other districts may be, or kind of what's kind of our level as far as the stipends and as far as what needs for that particular student population. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to say something. I might be a little bit behind you, but we're talking UIL campus stipends. We've found parity for the choir director and cheerleading between middle school and high school, and certainly the performance of the middle school. I saw him. There he is, the principal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've certainly done well with leading your leaders, and so I think bringing parity to the middle school and in those areas of high performance, as well as this teacher mentors, that's so important in developing all of our teaching staff. So I think those are some excellent things, along with these centralized classrooms. These are feeding to very important areas and help to retain and recruit the people that we need to fill these important positions.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Absolutely. And as you're going to get into the main pay grades on there on page 472, the administrative and professional employees. So again, along the same narrative, we really want to look at working with Ms. Hughes and some of the other departments, as well as the advocacy, Dr. Welsh and Dr. Hill's part is looking at our assistant principals, as well as looking at physical therapists, as well as to that same token. Is really want to try to recruit some of these professionals and making sure we stay up to the market level data to again try to attract these new folks who are coming out of these fields, who are coming out of college or these programs and trying to want to come into education, so we can stay hopefully in the market and try to compete with those other industries and try to attract and recruit. So you can see some changes there between PT, OT, occupational therapists, as well as our athletic trainers. For the work that they do. So you'll see some of those changes, position levels.
Board? Any comments, board? You want to move this to, what, Thursday or consent agenda? Ms. Abt?
Are you going to have any, you said you would have some updates on
Yes,
Thursday?
well, I have some really a few updates to verify those numbers with the Hughes.
Yeah, let's keep it.
And a few other things.
Yeah,
Let's
I
keep
think
it
we
on
should keep
action,
it.
yeah.
That's not a problem. And one thing for transparency, I just want to highlight is the work that looking at some of the data that our department has done and kind of visiting with some of the directors. I never want to be remiss in mentioning our auxiliary staff as well as our pet services, with this group and Ms. Cindy, as well as the food service department and the story, is kind of really looking at the adjustments we made for those folks that get a 2% as well as a flat $1.30, to really try to bring those positions up. And I think the work that we're doing with Mr. Evelyn and his work is really trying to make that area that we're trying to push those auxiliary personnel to really keep them in the door. For so long, they've been revolving door of our positions. And so if we retain those good quality people who want to work hard and do those things, I think we're moving in the right direction about doing it. So I do want to highlight that as well. And going back to the clerical positions, you'll see that strike through on page 478 about removing that pay grade 1. So much information that we've learned in the last couple of years from the college change and the career professionals is that we wanted to kind of strike through that pay grade 1, that low amount, and really kind of bring those parents up to a higher level as well. Because again, some of the numbers, our paraprofessionals were really, really low in what they were making. So we're moving in the right direction to try to correct and try to bring some of those positions up to market level, and hopefully we can make a better wage coming in.
Okay. I think we move it for Thursday.
We're going to keep it on action.
Keep it on action.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk, I want to hear what he brings back.
Yeah.
Ms. Anderson, that goes for action on Thursday. Okay. Next, item H, consideration of the adoption of the 2025-2026 budget. Mr. Ben Eberlein.
Yes, sir. I think I'm last. You should have a budget packet, proposed budget. We'll just kind of walk through it if you don't mind. The first few pages, or the first page is really just an info for anybody who's reading it. Essentially, what goes into school funding, and we'll touch on some of these points, obviously, as we go through and kind of see where our district is with all of these important things. As I've given at all of our budget workshops is our assumptions. We are assuming to drop in ADA again. We've been precipitate, not very fast, but steadily dropping over the past 5 or so years. So there's no reason for us to anticipate anything else at the moment, contingent on something happening. So to err on the side of caution, we're estimating an ADA of 5141. I'm anticipating to maintain the same M&O rate as last year with the, I believe it's House Bill 9 that is increasing the homestead exemption. I'm anticipating that although we did grow in our values from the preliminaries, those were not reflective of the $140,000 homestead exemption. So those certified values will come out in July, so we'll have a better picture of kind of where we sit on the M&O side when we do our actual tax rate adoption. Our staffing is based on enrollment of around 5,700 students, and like Mr. Whitaker said, targeted raises for our auxiliary staff was a very high priority for us this year. And as always, standard 2% raise for everyone else, but really targeting those auxiliary staff to make sure they're taken care of and well compensated. The next few pages, just for some edification, just what are function codes, what do they mean? So when I say, we adopt on a functional level, these are what these functions mean. And if you keep going, you'll have the program intent codes. So whenever we say we're serving kids, how are we targeting those kids? This is how TEA says, well, you spent X amount of money in PIC code 22. So that's targeting specifically CTE children. So we get allocations based on programs, and we must spend them how it's mandated. So just some definitions for the board. Now we get into the nitty-gritty. So historical tax rates, we have 14 years of historical tax rates for NISD right here. And of course, the proposed tax rate for NISD for 25-26 school year is M&O rate of .7552 and a debt service rate of 38 cents. It is the same rate as last year, so there's no tax rate increase. However, if something happens and later our values go up or the state decides to put us more down to the floor, then we'll change that whenever we get to adoption. Next page is our historical certified values. Like I said, we have gone up in our certified values. I believe what the CAD gives me is the net tax, or the, sorry, I'm going to get a little technical, is the frozen taxable value. What the state uses for funding is the net taxable for their T2. So, yeah, anyway, we're all good. Everything's trending in the right direction. Values are going up. However, the state is trying to limit that impact on the average homeowner by increasing the homestead exemption. So, the next page is the general fund. These are revenues only. The expenses are on the next page. There are really no substantial changes aside from the fact that, of course, the legislature, gave all this extra money, but also mandated that we spend all that extra money that they gave us. So you will see on the state side, the foundation entitlements went up around $2 million. That's kind of right in line with what we were projected from, I can't remember. We got an email from Joanne Schaffner, and that's kind of what, it was kind of right on the money there. So that is our total revenues. If the board has any questions on any specific thing, I'd be happy to answer. If not, we'll roll on to where all the money's going. So, of course, and always, the majority of our funding is spent on instruction. So the next page is just going to be expenditures in the general fund by function as the board adopts. Like I said, nothing super duper sticks out at you. We did increase in instruction. However, the state legislature was kind enough to say if you have 3 to 4 years as a teacher, you get $2,500, and if you have 5 or more, you get $5,000. So we had to accommodate for those salaries, and that's part and parcel of the increase. So also, I will bring your attention to Function 81. That's going to be our facilities projects that we got going on. I'm anticipating that we carry forward right around $2.7 million that we would have left over, not spent. However, we still have those projects going on. So I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, that those were going to be in the budget for the 25-26 school year. It is adopting a deficit budget of $3.4 million. However, I will say Nacogdoches ISD, this is my first year, Nacogdoches ISD has done an astounding job with building fund balance and being in a very good place for us to be able to not only give the teacher salaries, but to be able to accommodate for our auxiliary staff as well. I think we'll be in a wonderful place even after a deficit budget. But if the board has any questions on the general fund, I'd be happy to answer. All right. The next page is just the same information in another way, similar to our check register by date and vendor. This one's just by object code, so it details how much is spent in salaries and benefits, contracted services, supplies, other operating costs, and of course, capital outlay. So same information, same bottom line, just in a different format. The board is to adopt the following, or 3 budgets, not only the general fund, but also the student nutrition fund and the debt service fund. So next up is the student nutrition fund. I will say, I don't really give a lot of kudos most of the time when I'm, doing this stuff, but Miss Lori Stamper, I don't know if she's in here, she has done a wonderful job, and she's been a gem to work with doing her budget, as far as the nutrition is concerned. She super cares for the kids and really cares for her staff. So raises for her staff were her main thing. So being able to give those raises to her kids, to her staff, while also being able to feed all these children, pushing new initiatives. She's done a wonderful job, and like I said, we're anticipating being in a good place with the nutrition fund balance as well. If you have any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer those.
All I can say is about the food, I don't hear enough students complaining, so the food must be too good. I don't know. You must be doing a really wonderful job, because they like it and they eat it and they enjoy it. So thank you for a good job.
And last on the list is going to be our debt service. This one is fairly straightforward. Along with our friends at RBC Capital, I feel like Nacogdoches ISD has established a very good strategy for defeasing our debt obligations early, saving the taxpayers and Nacogdoches ISD hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in interest even over the life of these bonds. We actually have we are going to adopt a balanced debt service budget, fully meeting all obligations, and also with the capacity to defease some of those bonds early and save the taxpayers some money.
Mr. Eberlin, all your calculation comes excluding the sales of property on a Starling Drive and deaf education class, correct? Property, correct?
Yes, sir. I talked to Dr. Myers about that this morning. I was hesitant to put that in because the board had not, chosen to sell the land.
Right.
So I did not put that into the budget.
Okay.
Just out of caution.
Okay. Or do y'all want to hold this down until Thursday?
Do what?
Do you want to hold it for action on Thursday?
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. At this time, the board will now conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agendas pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and as allowed by Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in a closed meeting will be done when the board reconvenes into open session. Time now is 1:09. Dr. Myers, how long time is executive meeting?
It's up to y'all.
30 minutes is adequate?
30 minutes?
Okay, we should be back by 1:37. Well, let's say 1:40.
Yeah, 1:37.
Right. The board now reconvening into open session, and time is exactly 1:38. Okay. Board, are there any requests for future agenda? Dr. Groman, did you hear me? Is there any?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to be quiet, at least one letter in the whole thing.
I believe in miracle, yeah. Okay. At this time, I ask a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Here.
There's none.
Oh, man.
Board adjourned.
Worse and
You had to
worse.
think about it?